Thank you for coming out to see the final presentation of the inaugural Develop Charlestown Civic Workshop group. I am Mayor Teresa Hodges, and I just have a few introductory remarks to make, and then I will turn it over to the group and let them tell you what they've been working on for the past 6 weeks. First off, I do want to acknowledge those in the audience who are our elected officials or redevelopment members. I saw you sneaking in, so if you'll just raise your hand and wave for everybody, if you're an elected council member or in redevelopment commission members are here as well. Thank you for coming and hearing about what these guys are working on. I specifically want to say a thank you to the 3 council members who happen to be sitting in the back. Brian Hester and Chuck Deaton came to our first meeting with this group and helped talk about the legislative role, and then Shannon Elder came the night of the big brainstorming to talk about the comprehensive plan that the city did. So thank you for your involvement with this group as well, guys. This workshop came about because I believe that civic engagement is important. And I'm sure, like me, many of you look around on Facebook and you see comments from people who have opinions about things or questions about things happening in the community, and maybe they don't have full information to be able to speak about that issue. And I thought, well, how great would it be if we could just invite residents in to learn about the challenges of running a municipal government, how it works, who does what, where we get our money, how we're allowed to spend our money, but then take it one step further and empower those citizens to do something on their own, to give them the knowledge and even hopefully a little financing that they need to achieve some big goal for the city. And so that's what we've been working on, and you'll learn about that process tonight from this group. This is important to me. This is important to all of us, because one of the things that I think that is needed most in government right now is trust. And we know statistically that people are no longer trusting their government. Trust has declined over the past few decades. And I feel like it's important that if we want you to trust us, we should trust you. And so for me, this is that. We're turning over something to the citizens of Charlestown, building a volunteer network, and really letting citizens lead their government, which is, in my opinion, how it should be. So these board members or these people who come to do this workshop are to be commended for their commitment, and they're to be commended for the commitment that they're going to take on after this, because as you'll see, this doesn't just stop for them tonight. I've got them on the hook. We're keeping them involved. So how did this come about? Well, I went to Brian, my media director, and I told him this crazy harebrained idea, and he said, okay, Mayor. And he put out the job form registration, and we opened it up to anybody in the city of Charlestown. And we had a lot of people from outside the city of Charlestown who were also interested in this, so we might need to do some additional work on that. But we did have 18 people sign up who were from the municipal limits of Charlestown. And I was very pleased with how that went. We did not screen the applicants. All we did was all I did was Google the address and make sure that it was the city of Charlestown address, and that was it. And then we got everybody together and we learned who they were. I was astounded. Brian, if you want to advance to the, here's the agenda for tonight, and then we'll go to the introductory slide. You can go one more further. It's more double duty. So who were our participants? Our members in this group range from age 12 to 66. Our residents came from all 4 council districts. We have multiple representations from all 4 council districts. We also have a variety of educational backgrounds, careers, neighborhoods, income levels. I mean, you name it. It's a whole spectrum. And so really we achieved a fantastic cross-section of our community with this group. I find that more than just fortuitous. I find it a benefit, because I think often you might end up with one pocket of a community that does something, but here you have people from all different walks of life and backgrounds to inform this, so that representation matters. I love that some of you have lived in Charlestown your entire life. I love that others of you have lived here for maybe 18 months or so, because I think that those perspectives are what we're going to need to move Charlestown forward over the next decade or so. So a special thanks to our group, a special thanks to everybody who came out tonight to hear the group. And at this point, I'm going to get ready to turn it over. We did pass out, or we have available question cards. So if you have a question that you think of during the presentation, we have some volunteers from the group who are going to be collecting those. Write your question down, and then towards the end, you'll hold up your question. They'll collect it, and we'll have that Q&A session there at the end, at the final of the presentation. So sit back and learn what your community members and peers have been up to for the past 6 weeks.
Hello, my name is Kimberly Prevette. I've been a citizen of Charlestown for about 18 months. I love it here. The workshop, I'm going to talk about the different things we learned on each week that we met. The workshop had several layers. In the first session, we pretty much focused on understanding how our city government works. We reviewed Charlestown's districts. I found I'm in District 2. We also talked about the boards and the commissions and how decisions are made. The foundation helped us understand how citizens can participate in shaping the future of our community. Another part of the workshop focused on budgets and revenue. That was a tough one. Another part of we also learned how city budgets work, how they're created, where the revenue comes from, how resources must be allocated among priorities. And that discussion pretty much helped us understand an important reality that every community must balance its goals with available resources. The next one was professional guidance. The mayor did an outstanding job of including guest speakers and that could authoritatively speak about the topics that needed to be addressed. A lawyer addressed the legalities. We had council members explain the role of the local legislature. A city employee highlighted some of the challenges he faces, and someone who heads up the program, like the one we ultimately chose, explained the real world in the trenches work involving in pursuing and ultimately managing such a program. These speakers gave us something very valuable, a realistic understanding of what it takes to move an ideal from like a vision to implementation. The next topic we discussed was wants and needs. Moving forward, choosing a project, we utilized previously gathered community input. The mayor, she had sent out the survey and people responded. We had all that information. Many of you in this room may have taken part in that survey. These responses helped us guide our thinking, and as participants added to what we observed and the priorities, with our observation and priorities.
Good evening. My name is Brian Lewis. I'm one of the newer members to the community. I've been here for about 6 months. So going into this, we knew that we were going to have to pick a project to work on and as part of this workshop. So about week 3, Mayor Hodges asked us, all right, what project do y'all want to do? And there was no shortage of ideas on what we wanted to do. So a couple of ideas that we came up with was a 6-foot connecting sidewalks from different neighborhoods down to town, a community for people without homes to connect them with services in a coordinated way. We come up with youth mentorship programs, more housing for seniors, a recovery cafe, which is a place somebody that could go in recovery to get assistance. Also, we came up with an After 5 series, which would be just a community gathering after 5 on Fridays, whether it's bands or just something just to do for the community. We also came up with things like more public art pieces along the trails and walking areas, a recreation center, an updated version of the Civic Center, an education program about history of the ammunition plant, redevelopment of the former New to You building, which has already been purchased and in the developer's hands, so that's exciting. We came up with things like a mountain bike course or a park, city tours with historical facts, a community build day, a disc golf course, which is pretty exciting that this appears to already be on the way and in the works, annual poker tournaments, basic life skill classes, beautification committees, or just to create a facade program for homeowners. These are all great ideas. I think probably the coolest part of this is George's list. He was our youngest member, and he's going to come up now, and we get to hear his list.
Hi, my name is George Lau, and I've lived here for about 12 years now. And some of the examples of some of the things I came up with were a community garden, mirror org, a school supply drive, building homes with Habitat for Humanity, local cleanup days, a cemetery cleanup/repair day, or like an interpretive history, or a digital city tour, where you can go around the city and learn more about our historical sites and parks in our community.
I think it's pretty neat to have such a young member of our community get involved with something like this. In addition to our amazing project suggestions, the idea of pursuing the Main Street designation was thrown into the hat, and ultimately that's what we came up with. We evaluated that as we realized that whichever project we chose would require organization, communication, and some collaboration. Subgroups would need to be would need focus on different elements, and everyone would have a role to play. The project itself will be outlined here in just a few minutes, and here's Genevieve to fill us in on some more.
Genevieve, I apologize. We put you out of place, that's your problem.
My name's Andrea. I can be Genevieve. As you heard, it was like drinking through a fire hose for the last 6 weeks, and it's hard to capture all of the different things that we learned and the different takeaways that each of us came up with. It's easy to get caught up on a lot of the details, whether that be learning how to calculate our tax revenue, because we had to do that and get our calculators out, or how to figure out which department we would ask or which board we would ask if we had a real life problem. In reality, each of those things actually mean something for our community, right? They represent needs that our neighbors have. They also represent the forefront and the collaborative nature of our leadership, and that our city has really spent a lot of time thinking intentionally, not just through this project, but all of the different things that take to make this run. And I think that was one of the biggest takeaways for all of us, was to get to see firsthand and to learn how we can also help each and every one of our neighbors with all this knowledge. Also, I have to say, as a newer member to Charlestown, being here for the last 2 years, I think I learned more about Charlestown in the last 6 weeks than I have learned in the last 2 years that I've been here. I almost think it needs to be a required class if you're gonna buy. I think we had some real estate agents, but I think it should be a required class for our members. It's showing us where, as Treva already said, Mayor Treva said, where we're gonna be going in the future. And so whether it is families that have been around for generations, like the Hesters, or brand new families that have only been here for 6 months. Getting to partner and getting to make those networks and to collaborate and to start dreaming about what Charlestown will be in 2036 is pretty incredible. So with all those things that we learned over this time frame, we came up with some suggestions for the next project, because in case you don't know this, our mayor is a glutton for punishment. And part of what makes our city run so well is that she is innovative, and she wants to continue to push forward and to think about how to do the next thing and how to do it well. And so she asked us to make some suggestions for the next project, and so we came up with this list. You'll see the first one is that we actually wanted it to be longer. 6 weeks did not feel like enough, which is shocking again. As a non-math person having to calculate tax revenues, we actually wanted it to be longer. Some other things that we came up with was if we were able to be able to identify our projects sooner so that we could spend some more time with different subject experts, as well as have some safety experts like our EMS and other emergency responders come in, to have some members of our schools or from our different community service leaders come in, and to also have different stakeholders be able to come in and speak into these different projects as well. Additionally, we were hoping that we could learn more about the city. I think we need to include a Hester family tree for our next project. I think we could have a whole historical thing for that. So, and also to offer grant writing, because that is going to be a big portion, as you'll see, for this next project. So.
Okay, Genevieve, sorry about that.
I'm Genevieve Elliott, and I've been living here off and on since 2011. And so we, among the many ideas we considered, one stood out because it would potential benefit the entire community over long term. And it is pursuing Main Street America status. While it's a hefty goal, the process includes levels along the way that are each meaningful and significant. So, let's explain a little bit. There's 3 levels to this process. The first is the Downtown Affiliate Network. Second, it goes into the Indiana Accredited Main Street status. And then the third is the Nationally Accredited Main Street. Each level builds upon the previous one. Yeah. Why Main Street is so important? Main Street America, Indiana Main Street, and ODAN promote community-led revitalization of downtown areas in cities and towns across the state. The network is made up of dedicated volunteers, community leaders, partners, and advocates who are committed to making a difference by attracting investment, supporting job growth, and celebrating the unique character of their communities. Community transformation is a result of these 4 points: organization, design, promotion, and economic vitality. These 4 points work together to guide community rejuvenation efforts across the country. And this video is going to pretty much sum it up for you.
The framework, the 4-point approach, is extraordinarily important because it provides people with a path that they can adapt to their particular needs. They have the really comfort of knowing that this has worked for many, many other communities. The 4-point approach includes design, which is a focus on putting into active use older and historic buildings that make up many of our downtowns and neighborhood commercial districts. We focus on organization, which is creating strong and healthy organizations with a sustainable funding stream to support downtown revitalization efforts. Promotions, which are really all about marketing the downtown, making sure the community, making sure those outside the community know about all the great things that are downtown. And finally, economic vitality, which is really about making sure that there's a strong mix of businesses, cultural institutions, and housing that support that overall vision for downtown.
Hello everyone, my name is Siobhan Henry, and I have been here for about 1.5 years. So continuing on with what we were talking about. That first level is to be a downtown affiliate network. Doing the work to become a part of the downtown affiliate network means we can capitalize on training and guidance from Okra to start using the 4-point approach. We'll establish structure and gain experience. If we want to move to the next levels, we can. So how many of you have attended an event at Charlestown Square? We all love it, right? That sense of community gathering is exactly what this effort is about. Our vision to use the organization we build to improve and expand on things we already do as a city. Revitalize our downtown area, host more and better events, shape our inevitable growth in a way most compatible with our residents and culture. So as we said before, we reviewed a comprehensive plan that was put together through multiple surveys and polls that were sent out to citizens within the city. That was all compiled together and put into a comprehensive plan that gave us a little bit of an idea of what residents of the city of Charlestown were looking for. Because we're really smart, but we can't speak for everybody. Reviewing the city's comprehensive plan helped us identify that becoming part of the downtown affiliate network will support the community's goals and priorities that include enhancing and expanding our public spaces to make them even more vibrant, inclusive, and accessible. Specifically, we want to improve the central city, commonly known as the square, while improving connectivity throughout the entire city. In other words, the work required for ODAN already aligns closely with our goals, with the goals our city has identified in its comprehensive plan. So see, you already want this. Budget realities have forced the city to scale back some events in recent years. A strong community organization could help bring some of those activities back and even expand them. Developing public transportation in the city isn't outside the realm of possibility. I know we've got a trolley, I know we've got a train, we could do even more. Improving and expanding events that engage our youth is another growth opportunity. There are 109 cities in our state with various levels of accreditation. Across Indiana, communities both large and small are participating in the Main Street program. Here are 10 cities that are similar in population size, geography, and culture. These range from Decatur to the northeast to Boonville in the southwest. Of the 10, Salem is just up the road, and Georgetown is working on achieving their ODAN designation. So let's talk about Decatur for a second. Decatur received its Indiana Main Street designation in 2025, just last year. Boonville established its Boonville Now organization in 2011 and has Indiana Main Street status. Which, if you remember, that's the second level. Corydon, a city 2 counties over but familiar to us all, and one that is very familiar to our media director, Brian Smith. If you've been to Corydon in the past several years, you know how much their residents have accomplished. Madison, like Corydon, has used the Main Street program as a catalyst for revitalization and enhancement. In fact, Madison was a Great American Main Street winner in 2024. Madison began their effort in 1979. As one of the pilot Main Street programs, they leveraged their uniqueness to create a vibrant downtown district. Though obviously not comparable in size and sitting on the river's edge, Jeffersonville has done amazing things. All of these cities undertook the pursuit of at least one of the 3 Main Street levels. They were willing to put in the work and time it takes, knowing that the resources and training that will accompany a designation will benefit their city. One of the main takeaways that we got from putting this together is that all of these cities have something in common: a desire to improve their community and a willingness to work together to make that happen. And that's something that we can do too.
name is Millie Sanchez, and I've lived in Charlestown for about 6 months. Wasn't this impressive? 6 weeks. So after all this much fun, what's next? Now the real work begins. So now, from this workshop, all the 19 participants, we have to create a board of directors. So keep that in mind. And from those board of directors, we have decided as a group that we will have 7 board members. And out of those 7, 2, we would like to be chosen, 1 by the city and 1 by the council. And then the rest 5 will be from the citizens for Charlestown, as well as the participants of our workshops, which we will be having a form that you will be having some questions to answer, and then you will be chosen. So we'll have to, after that, make sure that we have a name for our organization. We have to have gotta have the lawyers. So we have to do bylaws, governing documents, articles of incorporation, and we have to also file as an Indiana nonprofit corporation and file a 501c3, which is pretty lengthy, a lot of work, but with the help and the assistance of our mayor and the city, we will be able to accomplish that. And then the real work begins. So we are looking forward to doing this. We're so ecstatic and excited about it, and thank you very much.
So before we go any further, do me a favor and give these guys a round of applause. My name is John Spencer. I've been in this game for a while. Served on many of the boards and commissions. Love to see you guys back there, you elected officials. Appreciate you being here tonight. I entered this, I love the idea of civic engagement. One of the organizations I participate in is Leadership Southern Indiana. And actually I'm the co-chair of the Civic Engagement Committee. We call it the Impact Committee now. But its main focus is to see how we can get people to talk to each other and do it in a civil fashion so they can exchange ideas without being in each other's throats. So as soon as I read the announcement about this class, I said, I gotta do it. Treva and I haven't always seen eye to eye. I just point that out. But what she's been doing with the city is amazing, and I really, really appreciate it. So I wanted to be a part of this group. So, Mike, did we leave you out? Did you want to come up and say something?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I just realized he was part of the program, but I think he got slipped. Come on up, buddy.
Thank you, John. Hi, I'm Michael Vaughn. I grew up here, resident since 1982, and I joined this workshop because I was ignorant completely, honestly, about how everything works, where tax money goes, everything. So I just wanted to learn, and I came here and found a surprising opportunity. They actually are giving us an opportunity to better the city, make us eligible for more grants and really do something for our community. And I appreciate the transparency of this administration.
Mike didn't know he was going to be here tonight. Didn't know if I drafted him to speak, so wanted to make sure he got that opportunity. So thanks, Mike. So you can go ahead and advance now. I want you to think about, especially most of you who've been here for years, like me, and have been in this game. We have seen this city come a long way, and much of that has come in the last 6-7 years. So you can see here the transformation is already underway. If you just go to the square now, you see the construction that's happening with the commons area, the park that's going to follow. So we've begun this process without having a Main Street organization. But I think we in this work group have reached the conclusion that having a separate entity to assist in any way possible is going to be a good thing. So I want you to see this and the transformation that is taking place within a year. Go ahead, Treva. Now I want you to put on your thinking caps and imagine what we could be in a decade. If we can get the organization established, get great board members, get this thing kicked off and rolling, then I think the picture is, you probably can't even imagine how nice it's going to be and how amazing it's going to be in 10 years. So I just want you to keep that in mind when you leave here tonight. So what can you do? You folks who are here, what can you do to be part of this organization? So there's a flyer in the back. We want you to leave with that, and there's a QR code on there. we'd like to have you express your interests, and certainly we would love for you to volunteer. One of the next steps that Billy mentioned was we're going to have to select board members. We'll do that through an application process, in addition to the 2 appointees by the mayor and the council. And so, as that form becomes available online, we want you to be sure to get on there, seriously consider applying to be a board member. We'll get those applications, we'll screen them, and we're going to do this as fast as we can. So in the next probably 4 weeks, we'll have something established. So we really want your help in that, so be sure to take a flyer when you leave the room. So I just want to say that I have been extremely impressed with the class and the members who are here tonight. And as you've heard, several of these people have only been here 6 months, a year, 2 years. Then we've had us old folks, us senior citizens, who've been around for a while, and it was a nice mix of people. They've done amazing work in the 6 weeks, and I know they're excited about moving forward. So thank you, Treva. Thank you, council members. Thanks for all the support that we've had so far, and we look forward to moving ahead. Back to you.
So I'm going to check and see if there are any questions. So did anybody fill out a question? Do we have to raise it in the air? If you haven't written it down, you can write, oh, there we go. You can write it down. I do want to acknowledge that some of the members who were part of the group were unable to be here tonight just due to scheduling conflicts or illness. Sometimes it just happens. So we did have a few that weren't here tonight. And we'll be getting with them and making sure they get their shirts and all that stuff. But do we have another question?
I want to know how long the term is for board member.
How long the term is for a board member? Which one of you wants to answer that? Millie?
Well, we haven't established that yet because we want to make sure we get the applicants first, screened and chose, and then our first meeting, then we'll have more information. But we also have to meet with legal and make sure we come up with the articles of incorporation, our bylaws, and all that before we can actually do that. So we don't know that yet, and that will be chosen by us from the workshop group.
Other questions?
Does that answer your question for you?
That was my exact question.
That was your exact same question. All that and only the same question from multiple people. Millie?
I will say that from a personal experience in board of directors, it's good to have staggered. So it might be a year, it might be 2 years. We always want to make sure that an original board member is in place before we have any new members. So that's still, like I said, in the works.
Other questions? Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit more about your upcoming debate club that you're going to do?
Oh, that's separate. Like she said, I guess I'm like glutton for punishment. So I am starting after spring break. So what happened was during all of this, I did have some other young people reach out about wanting to get, involved civically as well. And specifically middle school age, and they were like, hey, we want to learn how to talk about all these issues and stuff, and so it just kind of evolved, and so now I'm volunteering to lead a youth debate club, starting the week after spring break for ages, I think we did 12 to 16 or something like that, so yeah, that'll be a 10-week thing. So yeah, just again, trying to get everybody involved. We were very blessed to have George in our group, and there were at least 2 other young people who wanted to be involved in this group. One of them came once, but then was just overwhelmed with school and couldn't commit to it, so we pardoned him. And the other one just didn't really have reliable transportation, and I was trying to work that out with them, and it became overwhelming. So there is interest among the youth to be involved in this as well, and I think that we should foster that. And it also came from one of George's big ideas, because one of George's big ideas was to have a youth mentorship program. And I don't know a lot, but I know how to argue. You can ask that man with the glasses in the back of the room, and he'll get in front of you. And probably some of these people sitting on the back row too, they probably say, yeah, she does. Yeah, see, Hester's living or not, yeah, see. So yeah, we're going to be doing that. Any other questions? Yes?
Would this complement the Parks Department or like Christmas stuff?
I'm not going to answer that. I'll let our board answer that. What do you think? Is it going to complement the Parks Department? Christmas? What are you going to do?
So the organization is going to be as flexible as we'll make it to be. So as we get members, get volunteers, get funding, we will, I shouldn't say we, because at that point I won't be involved directly, but the board and the organization will choose what to spend that money on and how, what best matches the priorities of the comprehensive plan, for example, and then also what people have expressed along the way. So it's going to be a very flexible approach to that assistance. But we won't be part of the city, just to make sure that's clear. It's a separate nonprofit organization.
Any other questions? All right, I want to thank everybody for coming out. I do want to recognize our participants. I'm trying to pull the ones that aren't here out a little bit. And so I do have some certificates and I have challenge points because this was a challenging endeavor. Anytime somebody makes you come in and pull out your calculator and start calculating tax rates, you deserve to walk out with something. Keep in mind, these guys did this at their own time. They didn't get paid to do this. We didn't charge any fees to do this. So the people who came and spoke, the guest speakers, they did this on their own time, for their own, desire to see this succeed. And all these participants, they committed to 2 hours a week for 6 weeks to learn this and get this done. So when I call your name, come up and get your certificate, please.
Sure, would you want to acknowledge the people who gave us the binders? I just thought about it.
Oh, yeah. We did have some support, so there was minimal cost associated with this other than just printing some things. But one thing I did was I wanted to make sure that every participant walked out with a binder of information to keep with them to build. And so we're grateful for HWC Engineering because they donated the binders for our class. That was some expense that we didn't have to pay, and that's always nice when we don't have to pay that expense. So thank you. Shout out to HWC Engineering for providing those binders for our class. So, all right. I'll make you climb the stairs. I'll just need a hand help here. Brian Lewis. Here and over as you go over. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Ina Barnes. And notice that some people didn't choose to speak, but they still were very actively involved. And their job was to police the crowd so that you guys didn't get too unwieldy on us. John Spencer. Woo! Yeah. And I will say that John was chosen by the group to be the at least temporary person in charge until they get their board developed and moving on. So he's also a glutton for punishment. Michael Vaughn. Andrea Valenti. Tanya McCarthy. Siobhan Henry. Craig Thompson. He looked like he'll be here tonight. Teresa Spalding. Teresa works for She's been working for the Parks Department part-time for a while, so I was glad to see her son at this one. Thank you. Genevieve Elliott. Thanks, Genevieve. Kimberly Privette. Millie Sanchez. Crystal Little. And last but not least, George Lau. So, for those who have not received a Charlestown Challenge coin on the back, it says, this challenge coin recognizes outstanding contributions to the city of Charlestown. And as far as I'm concerned, this group has made an outstanding contribution to the city of Charlestown. They're creating a lasting legacy for us to move forward into this Main Street organization and beyond. So thank you to the group. Thank you for those who came out. Feel free to talk to the group members, celebrate them, and definitely scan that QR code and sign up because we're going to need your hands on to help us with this organization. Thank you all.